On today's episode of Anime Afterthought Noblesse, Episode 2, Reasons to Fight Nobility. Now this is a pacing I can enjoy. We dove a little bit deeper into Nobility, established a couple new characters as well as their motivations, and bore witness to a couple of well choreographed fights. Simply put, today's episode was good. Now before we go any further, I must reiterate once more that there is a 2016 OVA that depict the events prior to episode 1. So please go and watch that, because today's episode picks up right after the climactic fight. It seems our two mysterious figures at the end of the last week's episode are indeed nobles. Regis K. Landegray, who also seems to have mental manipulation abilities, and Seira J. Loyard, who I will admit is pretty hot. At the back of my mind, I was kind of curious if we were ever going to get a female noble. I'm so glad we did. Who are there in turn investigating what transpired during the OVA. Not only the unhuman feats of strength required to do this much damage, but also the theft and whereabouts of the coffin. Now, whether they're of their own volition or under the guide of another, they do seem to be well informed. They are well aware of the organization known as Union, as well as their objective to create modified humans. Regis surmises that must be their intent with the coffin, to procure some noble DNA. Well, it looks like these two are gonna have work on their hands, so they decide it's time to blend in, as we see them arriving next day at the school, confronting M21 at the gates. But it seems he is well aware that these two are not your typical teenagers. Noticing that Regis is giving off that same commanding aura as Rizel, the two are immediately brought before Frankenstein. Unaware of his unique nature, Regis tries to manipulate his mind, commanding that himself and Seira should be enrolled. Playing along with the ruse of being brainwashed, Frankenstein decides to make a call. Guess who? it's Rai. He needs to ask, I guess, his master's permission, or at least see what he's up to, and of course, lo and behold, not only are they enrolled, but guess whose class they're in? Yep, Rizel's. Now, during their introduction, it seems that Regis has taken notice of Rizel, taking notice of the same aura, yet confusing him with a human. It does kind of make me wonder if that there's not some kind of physiological difference between the two. Can nobles not merely just sense each other? Now, while he was taking notice of Rai, it seems that Manaba has taken notice of Seira. He seems completely enamored by this vixen, and honestly, why wouldn't he? And then it seems the entire class has once again taken notice of Tashiro, who, being the ire of despise, has once again been given the task of welcoming and introducing the new students to the life of Tokyo. So of course we have to take them first to lunch, where it seems Rai has developed a penchant for ramen. Now with the day wrapped up, we see that M21 and Frankenstein are headed home. M21 inquiring about nobles in general, and this gives us a first good bite of information based on them. Now, back when humanity was this lowly little cur, this beast frightened by everything, there appeared the nobles, these beings with immense power, so strong in fact that they were even revered as gods, but at the same time so strong that they viewed humanity as, I guess, like a charity case. We were so weak and feeble that they saw it as their duty to try and protect us, or in turn try to command us, as we see that being M21's mentality towards these supreme class beings. Now of course it wouldn't be a good episode if we didn't get some hilarity ensued. Now Tashira is well aware of the fact that Manaba is enamored with Seira, so he takes it upon himself to play Cupid, and it just so happens they're deciding to do this all at Frankenstein's abode. Very perturbed, but what are you gonna do? It seems it's okay with Master Rizel, so it has to be okay with you, right? But I have to say, literally surrounded by a bunch of inhuman OP monsters, Tashiro has some major fucking balls. Not only is he completely making a mess, but he's interjecting his own will onto the group, finding out that Regis and Seira currently don't have a place to stay, and interjecting that, hey, why don't you go ahead and just stay here? I mean, Rizel already is, and so is M21, so... And of course, Frankenstein, you can just tell, he's not gonna admit it, but like, inside, he's probably just, oh, what the fuck, am I running a hostel here? Like, Tashiro, you little shit. Now, we can't forget that the two nobles are there for a mission. I mean, they're trying to investigate the Union and the missing coffin. Just because they seem relaxed doesn't mean they're off duty. As we see Seira go into the kitchen to offer her help, she notices the tattoo on M21's arm, a sort of sigil signifying that he was a modified human, which you figured if you're on the run from the Union and you literally have a brand on your fucking arm, you either A, cut that shit off, or B, get that lasered off, or put a different tattoo on it. So now that these nobles are well aware of the fact that M21 has some kind of connection with Union, they decide to make their move, as we see Regis all out confront M21 the next day at school. Meanwhile, the others have gotten themselves in a little bit of trouble, at least on a mortal level. It seems Tashiro really is one of those just badass punks that likes to get in trouble, as we see him confronted by a gang of, you know, big beefy tough guys. Yeah, tough guy. Even Rizel is being held at knife point. So yeah, it looks like we're about to get two pretty badass battles. Regis is gonna be taking on M21, who seems to despise this man-made monster. Of course, it's not helping that M21's lips are sealed when it comes to the Union. I mean, he's giving out bits and pieces. Hey, don't worry, everyone involved is fucking dead. I took care of it. You can just go, you know, fuck off. But honestly, their battle is one-sided. We saw that he couldn't take on Jack and Marie in the OVA. This is the real deal, Holyfield. This is a noble. Yes, he was easily able to brush off his mental manipulation, but the dude picked you up with one arm and threw you across, like, I don't know, 40 feet into a fucking wall. Like, yeah, it's just next level when it comes to this one. But their fight is actually interrupted by Seira using, you know, telepathy with Regis, saying, oh, by the way, we're in trouble over here. Well, you know, not really. This is definitely human affairs. You have to just let it play out. And Tashiro is a fucking badass. Surrounded by a slew of gangsters, it seems his only real concern is making sure that no one else gets hurt. Giving Manaba the signal to push everyone to safety, he just lets fucking loose. Taking one or two hits there, maybe a couple grabs, but he's basically whooping so much ass. So much, in fact, that the main thug decides to pull a little bitch move and pulls out a gat. Luckily, at this time, Regis and M21 have shown up. M21 taking this opportunity to interject, break up the fight, slamming the gun-toting thug boss into the ground and stopping Tashiro before he does any more damage. In the aftermath, it seems that Seira as well as Regis are beginning to contemplate to alter their image of humans. It seems they may have been away from the mortal world a little too long. Humans have evolved. M21 goes on to say, you know what, given a reason to fight, humans can do a lot. Showing his disdain at the nobles, saying, you know what, we don't fucking need you. Humans can evolve and, you know, do wonderful things if given the chance. Of course, this leads to a quarry back and forth between M21 and Regis, who seem to be one of those frenemies, like friendly rivals. Like, I think they're gonna get along, but at the same time, right now there's just a lot of distrust on both sides. But yeah, of course, you know, we wrap it up with a nice post-credit scene where once again, Rizel is showing his infatuation with ramen, declaring that will be tonight's meal. I mean, like I said, today's episode, the pacing was pretty much on par. We got action, we got comedy, we got a little lovey-dovey. I ship Manaba and Seira. I really hope they can make this work. I mean, a noble and a mortal, things might get a little peaked, but you know what they say, love can conquer all. Now when it comes down to the actual narrative though, they are flushing it out bit by bit at a rate I can actually consume. We are learning that, you know, there are other nobles, both male and female. They are well aware of the situation regarding Union as well as modified humans. Not to mention we see a look at their abilities. Not only do they, at least when it comes to these two, have telepathy, but Regis has a comparable skill when it comes to mental manipulation as Rizel. And while they really can't tell who is a noble, at least in regards of Rizel, they can perceive some kind of, aura or power emanating from such being. Like I said, he confused him as a human, but also was like, holy shit, I've never sensed a human this powerful. So he's aware of the power, he's just not aware of the person wielding it. Hopefully we do get more information on like the nobles themselves, but like I said, we're going at a rate that I can actually, you know, consume it very well. I really do dig the two new characters. Like I said, getting nobles is fun. I love this nice little relationship that they're putting between Regis and M21. A nice frenemy thing going on. But at the back of my head, we still have to deal with the cliffhanger of last week's episode. Remember, it's not only the nobles that are looking for the coffin, but it's still the group who tried to steal it in the first place, aka Union. They sent, I guess we'll call them the Death Squad from right now, because I'm not 100% sure if they have an official name. These somewhat superhuman people that took out an entire fucking army in the jungle. Yeah, they're there. We just don't know where. So yeah, oh god, I really like this fucking series. I really do. So far, it's been a really good mix. Visually, it's been stunning. I really do like the art, the animation, the models, even on like the off scenes where usually quality would dip, everything seems to be on par. Like, I really do love it. I really do like it. It's got a good fucking story. It's building a pretty good foundation to, you know, base a series off of. I think it's doing a phenomenal job. I really did enjoy today's episode. So with all that being said, and more Noblesse next week. I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.